Welcome back. Edward Snowden wants President Obama to pardon him so he can come home from Russia. Snowden acknowledges that he broke the letter of the law by disclosing a trove of NSA documents, but says his disclosures prompted good reforms which justify his actions, and that all warrants a pardon. His critics say he should be locked up forever or worse. So should he be pardoned, and how do you do it? Dana Perino is here, former White House press secretary and co-host of The Five. She's also the host of the brand new show, Perino and Steyerwalt. I'll tell you what, it premieres Sunday, September 18th at 5 p.m. only on the Fox News channel. Two of my favorites. That is going to be phenomenal.
I think it's going to be fun. I hope
Just
you
in
watch.
time for the election season. I will absolutely watch.
Everybody has to stay tuned so that they can find out how Chris says, "I'll tell you what." Because it's not like how you and I would ever say it, which is why we named it this way.
That's awesome. And you have, obviously, an insider's view into the pardoning process. So I'm assuming that you were there as President Bush was deciding who to pardon, whose sentences to commute.
President Bush was actually criticized for quite a few years for being stingy with pardons, okay, like being too stingy, that it is a great power that is given to a president and that you can use it in ways that actually help people who are remorseful, people who have served their time. Ed Snowden does not qualify in any of those categories. One of the things that's hard for a president leading up to the end of his administration, or her, as it may be in the future, is that you get lobbied by all sorts of people. So let's just say you're at a receiving line, you're at a private fundraiser, people coming through for their picture.
I can only
hey,
imagine.
by the way, you know, my uncle's nephew, the cousin of the so-and-so, it'd be really helpful.
That brings up a good point, because imagine the number of people that Hillary Clinton will have to pardon at the end of her second term.
What is the thing that you remember most about the last days of Bill Clinton's tenure? It was Mark Rich and the pardon of Mark Rich, and I just think I think that was bad. And remember, who was the pardon attorney at the Justice Department? Trivia. Do you know who?
No.
Eric Holder, who eventually becomes the Attorney General of the United
States.
States.
Said that Ed Snowden deserves some sort of a deal.
And I don't think... Okay, so last year on The Five, I predicted that Obama would be pressured to pardon Ed Snowden. And then about 4 months later, you see Holder saying, well, maybe he should be. You know why? It's a popular thing to do. I think it's the wrong thing to do. A lot of people deserve pardons. Ed Snowden is not one of them.
I think he's one of those people that is so polarizing. You either absolutely 100% want to see him pardoned, or you want to see him
And he wanted to see himself in a movie. Like, the movie comes out this week. That's why we're talking about this. I hope that President Obama does the right thing and ignores this.
I hope he pardons him. I don't think he's going to. I really don't.
Interesting. No, I don't. Meet again on January 19th, 2017.
To see if your prediction
get the pardon.
Came true. Very interesting, though. Now you have an intuitive way of
down on the pardon.
Thumbs up.
If it was the Roman Empire in the Colosseum.
Yeah. People would like to see him fight a tiger. And perhaps
let's try that. That's fine.
I'd like to see him ride one, like Siegfried and Roy. All right, President Obama is planning some big changes in his remaining months as El Presidente, now planning to admit 110,000 refugees in fiscal year 2017, and that begins October 1st. That's up from 70,000 last year. Obviously, there are a lot of people displaced in war-torn parts of the world, a lot of this because of Hillary Clinton's bad decisions.
So I grew up in a Lutheran household, and we did a lot of refugee resettlement in Denver, Colorado. That was one of the places that a lot of refugees from the former Soviet Union fled. And on Saturdays and Sundays, my mom and dad took us, and we had to figure out how to get... I remember this one Russian grandmother really wanted a particular spice for this chicken dish that she wanted to make, and there's no Google back in those days. And my mom went all over Denver, and she found it, and then she showed her how to ride the bus so she could get to this Russian grocery store. And so I have a soft spot for refugees, but I also think that people are refugees for a reason. And the way that you solve this problem is not in the United States. You solve it at its source. And
but I don't think it's our job to fix those places. So what do you do? Do you appeal to neighboring countries like Saudi Arabia and Jordan and say, you guys are a lot closer, why don't you take more of them?
Well, that would be an interesting thing for like a Hillary Clinton to take on, right? So she was a Secretary of State. I mean, you can't just have military support or not, or diplomatic support or not. I mean,
she wrecked a bunch of stuff. She should let them all live in the White House.
But here's the thing. I truly believe that the condition of the world and countries where you foment terrorism ultimately will hurt the United States. It's a neocon view. I've had it since I was a kid. I can't shake it. That's what I have. But I also think that President Obama in the remaining months, if he wants to try to bring more refugees in here, he'll have to deal with that with Congress. But he should try to solve this problem at its source. And asking Russia to do this for us in Syria, I don't think is going to cut it.
All right, very good. Dana Perino, the thumbs
Pardon
up, thumbs
expert.
down. That's right.
Pardon me.
Snowden expert. Don't mind if I do.